Well, hi. Today is March 6, 2025. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Morning Coffee. Well, we made it through another round of snow. Are we going to get another one tomorrow? The latest forecast I saw said maybe 1 to 2 inches. That seems to change periodically, so cross our fingers that it's not too bad. But fear not, warmer weather is on the way. It goes back and forth again about Monday, but, we may hit 70. It's a possibility that we could hit 70 on Monday. Oh, let's all cross our fingers for that. I am ready for spring just about as much as I have ever been ready for spring. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to get out and doing some camping again, doing some warmer weather hiking, and all of the fun stuff to be able to do outside. Coming up on the show, we will be visiting with a couple of my favorite people. Is the Ericksons from ThinkSpace IT, Jessa and Jason, with their home base in Walnut, Iowa. And that conversation is coming up very, very soon. I want to tell you that since 1870, Avela Bank has been providing Iowans with high-quality financial products and services to fit their needs. Whether you need a loan, you'd like to start a new business account, maybe you need to save money for a trip, or you're looking to open a personal checking account, Avela's qualified bankers can help you with all of that and more. Visit avela.bank to learn more. Also, Service Master Restore by Schmader knows it can be hard to get back to normal when you've suffered serious property damage. Could be from a flood, fire, or smoke, and you're left with all sorts of questions about how to get your home or business back to normal. That's why Cindy at Service Master Restore by Schmader will restore your space by offering quality commercial and residential restoration services in Council Bluffs and the surrounding areas. Their staff's available 24/7 all year long. When you have questions that need answered, get a hold of them. That's Service Master Restore by Schmader. And coming up very soon, we've been talking about it, but these restaurant reviews are on the way. And GLI Insurance Group, headed up by Bryce Taylor in Crescent, Iowa, is a locally and family-owned independent insurance group. It's been helping people find the best possible plan for them for over a decade. Bryce has an office just up the road from Council Bluffs and in Crescent, and is also the founder of the Facebook group Council Bluffs Food Lovers, which is why he's going to be going out with me, and we're going to be visiting some area restaurants and bringing back some of the wonderful food. Well, we're not bringing it back. We'll just show it on video, but that's how it's going to work. Do give Bryce a call at GLI Insurance Group to see just how he can help you get all of your property, cars, whatever it be, get it all covered. All right. And the Best Wrestler in Council Bluffs has a 20-day camp that's coming up in June. We've been telling you about this, and George Ivanoff and his team has let me know that space is limited for this. There's just 50 wrestlers will have an opportunity to practice over the course of 20 days. They're going to get 51 practices in over those 20 days. George, of course, was an Olympian at the Rio Olympics in 2016. His dad was an Olympic coach. He's going to be there. You'll have access to a world champion. A lot of other champions are going to be there ready to take your wrestler to the next level. Visit thebestwrestler.com to reserve your spot. The event is in Council Bluffs, June 2nd through the 22nd. Joining us now, the good folks at ThinkSpace IT, is Jessa Erickson and Jason Erickson. Thank you so much, both of you, for being a part of the show again today. I always love talking to you because you guys have found a way to make technology actually kind of fun. And it's interesting to listen to what it is that you guys have to say. Usually this kind of stuff is just way over my head and incredibly boring, but that's not how you guys are. So thank you and welcome.
Well, that's how we make our money, is to make it very complex, If it's not difficult, nobody would pay us.
Well, I've said before that, Jessa, after hearing you talk at the Council Bluffs Business Connection meeting, I'm thinking, am I wearing a Village Idiot shirt now? Because people are just going to know that I don't know anything, but it's still always great information that you pass along there. And you typically come in with some kind of theme that you wanted to talk about. And especially at the last one, you did such a great job of explaining how all of this came together, and you used a cake as an analogy. That was kind of cool.
Well, thank you. I wish I could take credit for it, but the whole cake pitch analogy, alas, I did not come up with it. However, it's a great tool. I do love it because and for those who don't know, so if you akin what it is to be an MSP, think of making a cake, or really anything for that matter. You have all your ingredients over here in a nice little basket. You've got this, that, and the other. And over here you have the completed, whatever it is, the cake or Julia Child's beef bourguignon. So
don't say that.
you've got your ingredients.
To the next meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No.
Just maybe. But no, you've got all your ingredients, everything to make it, but you've got just the ingredients. So for us, you've got your ingredients worth, say, $20, whatever it is. And then you've got the cake. Well, would you pay $20 for the ingredients, or would you pay $20 for the cake? So the thing is, then you got to think, okay, the cake, but there's just more to the cake than the ingredients. You've got the time that goes into making it. And then, you may throw in a little bit of this, a little bit of that, as grandmas would say. What's the secret ingredient? Love. And actually for us, a lot of times that is totally the case.
I was sure you're going to say lard.
Yeah. Lard.
I don't use lard to make cake, but if I was making a pie, maybe. Alton Brown, don't kill me. So no, just illustrating that there's so much more, at least from our perspective, what goes into being a good, what goes into being a great MSP is not just the tools or the ingredients. There's so much more that we put into it. And that's what makes us us. And yes, I did make a cake. And did you get any of it?
No, but there's a reason for it, because I've turned into one of those people that have a gluten intolerance. If somebody goes walking by me with a muffin, I have to run the other way. It's the bane of my existence. I am, I used to live on sandwiches, and now, the gluten-free bread is okay to make toast out of, but after that, it's... I can't enjoy a sandwich anymore. No. But what I loved about that analogy, I think that this applies to a lot of other industries, but especially yours, is yes, the information that is out there. And if people want to go through and learn all of this stuff and take the time to be able to learn all of it, and taking time away from what is really making them money, then yes, you can do that. But it's the same kind of philosophy, even breaking it all the way down to, a lot of people know how to paint, but they're still hiring a painter. Mm-hmm. Because they don't have time, and there are better ways that they can invest their time in order to be able to make money for their business. And you do things in a very fast, efficient, and effective way. So that's the reason that it just makes so much sense, and that's the reason people should eat your cake.
Right.
And I totally agree. And for those who are curious, by the way, give me a call. I'm more than happy to sit down and talk with you. I do tend to agree. Technology is not a luxury anymore. I think back to not my first job, my second job. I worked in a tea room and gift shop. And at that point, and this will totally date me, I was in 8th grade. The extent of the technology that we used was that little handheld device that you use to run over the credit card.
Run a credit card. Yeah. I actually worked in a store that did that.
Yeah, that was the extent of the technology at that time. Fast forward to when I was in college, I worked at the Seas Lab at Iowa State. We used a little bit more technology at that point. But technology is not a luxury. It is day to day. It's everything in your car. There's so much technology built into your car anymore. You're almost driving a computer. Look at the fridges, for crying out loud. Your appliances, everything has technology, and there's so many different moving parts, so many different pieces that you have to learn, that as a business owner, if I had a different kind of business, I would probably honestly look at outsourcing, because there are so many different facets to it that if I wanted to have an internal IT team, I'd have to hire I don't know how many people, because your average person isn't going to know. They're not going to have the knowledge base to cover every aspect of it. So that's where we come in.
Usually when we talk to you guys, we're talking about security, and we're talking about, phishing or scams or whatever the case may be. But you guys do a lot more than security, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Oh, absolutely. Security is a massive part of it. Absolutely. It has to be. Just, I mean, look at everything that's going on right now, especially. But everything else we do ties into that security. We do the remote monitoring, so we're able to keep tabs on computers, on servers, on switches, on your wireless access points. We do backups, and please, for the love of Pete, if you don't have a backup, please, even if you don't talk to us, talk to somebody. That's my little pitch, because World Backup Day is coming up on March 31st. So there's that little plug.
I want to expand.
We do phones.
Go ahead. I want to expand on
it
a little bit, because you said, well, security isn't everything, and immediately start talking about security. that's what we do. But
right.
like Jess was saying, there's so much technology that is now integrated, and it's not just a matter of plugging things in, connecting things, making sure you buy the right hardware. A lot of it comes down to business practice and that kind of deal. I spend a lot of time talking to business owners about, you have the greatest technology in the world, but you don't have a written policy to hand to your employees as to what's acceptable computer usage. You don't have a written policy on what to do if there is a problem. And you don't have a plan moving forward with what are we going to do in the next 4 years as technology changes. The tariff is a good example of all this, because we've been talking, hey, if we're going to buy anything in the next 6 months, we better buy it now before the tariffs hit, because we could be looking at a 20-30% jump in computer pricing. So there's a lot of that comes in with an actual MSP, because there's a lot of companies say they're MSPs. But to me, MSPs are more than I'm going to throw an agent on your machine and watch what you do. To me, it's supposed to be a partnership. We're supposed to be working with the business owners to honestly help them grow their business. Because if they get better and bigger and happier, we're happier, because we get to bill a little bit more as they bring more employees and such on, or more technology on. And like Jess was saying, everything is integrated. I mean, in the good old days, you had your phones, you had your computers, you had your bookkeepers, you had, all this stuff. Now everything is connected. Most businesses nowadays have maybe 1 or 2 applications that they use to run their entire business. And since that makes everything connected, integrated, if you mess up one part, it's not going to connect anymore, So we need to make sure everything is connecting and jiving, because if everything's connecting and jiving, fewer headaches for the business owner, fewer headaches for us, everybody's happy. Okay, I said my 2 bits. Thank you, guys.
Well, and you touched on another point that I touched on last Thursday, which is, for starters, MSP typically stands for Managed Services Provider. For some people, that's all well and good. However, for me, that's not good enough. So we are redefining what it means to be an MSP, which is a Managed Solutions Partner. We don't just provide. I'm not out here to sell. I don't like the salesperson connotation. I don't want to call somebody up and your immediate thought is, oh, crap, I got to sit through a sales pitch. I don't like sales pitches. I love having conversations and learning about people and what they do and what they want to do, especially if it involves cooking, because I'm a huge fan of cooking shows. I like getting to know people. So we are a partner, but we don't just do services. We do full on solutions. We are there from the beginning to the very end. We don't just monitor your stuff. We sit down with you. We talk about, okay, so how are your employees doing? Are they having any issues with things? We fully assess the nature of the business and how IT applies to that business. And we make things work. We make things easier. We make it so that you can go do what you need to do. Leave the IT to us. We'll take care of it. We are an extension of your team.
I think that I'm remembering a time when I was working a radio job and things were switching over to a higher technology. and we were starting to get into computers and an actual computer automation system as opposed to, stopping and putting one song in at a time. And the system that they brought in there, it had this little glitch in it that you had to manually put a link from one to the next if you wanted one element to go to the next thing. But if you put the element in the wrong place, it would completely lock up the system and they'd have to reboot it and you'd be off the air for 5 minutes.
Oh
Well,
no.
you're dealing with a bunch of radio jocks, and none of us have any concept about it. We got other things to worry about, like, are we still on the air, and we got the next thing coming up, and what are we going to say? So this was happening multiple times a day. And so again, when you're talking, we were just talking about working with the team, making sure that everybody understands. No, that silly of a problem doesn't exist anymore. They're more sophisticated, and it's smarter people can get stumped as opposed to just us in this radio station. So that's such a great thing that you talked about there, that it's, we don't know what we don't know, but there's problems in there that can really freeze up a business. And all it takes is just one person, thinking that they know something and they don't.
And we have seen that, unfortunately, time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. We do our best to work with everybody within the business because it isn't just one person. We're not just working with the owner or the sales guy or the accountant. No, when it comes to IT, everybody's affected. Even if they don't think they're affected in some way or another. So, let's take the burden off of them and let's just make it easier for them to do their job.
Often the reputation, at least it used to be with folks in your line of work, that if you were coming into the building, I wouldn't want to talk to you because you're always cranky. But you guys are not. And that's it. You're a lot, you've humanized all of this in a way that I think is, was genius. First off, that look, we don't know. So we need you to explain it to us. And even though you're explaining it now for the 1,000th time in the last 2 weeks, you can still explain it without just sounding so exasperated with the person. And people learn better that way.
Todd, it's fine.
We try. No, everybody has their level of IT knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, that may be accurate. Some people, it may fall on either side. They may know more than they think, or they may think they know more than they do. It just depends. And, our job is just to be the peacemaker, come in and just fix stuff, just make things run properly. Ideally, so that the issues don't arise, which I am very pleased to say. And, I don't generally like to brag, but this one I will brag about all day long. Our established customer partners experience one support ticket per company per month.
Wow.
Yeah. It's taken a long time to get to that point, but I am exceedingly pleased about that because that's the way it should be. And oftentimes they don't even have any tickets in a month.
Yeah. So what that means is that these folks are not experiencing constant problems that you have to go back in and fix because you've done your job in the front end.
It's all about being proactive, and that's where we like to be. We like to just make sure everything's taken care of so that they don't experience any downtime or any issues at all.
Do you have
my happy place?
Do you have a service area, meaning that, you look at a radius coming out of Walnut, Iowa, and this is how far you're going, or how do you work that?
I think technically I'm supposed to, but that's the beauty of being an MSP is with a record like that, with having so few support tickets, and even when we have support tickets, more often than not, we can handle them remotely. We don't have to be, just down the block. We can be a town, 2 towns, 100 miles, whatever away. So while we do have a geographical area that we tend to focus on, honestly, we have people we work with up in far north, and I'm sorry, I know I'm looking up, but I'm looking on a map in my case. up in far northeast Wisconsin.
Okay.
We have customers we work with in southern Missouri. We've worked with people out on the East Coast. So we can work with almost anybody.
And any industries more than others, or is it just across the board?
We have industries we specialize in, and a lot of times they're going to be more of the companies that are going to need more hand holding than most. So you're looking at things more like lawyers' offices, doctors' offices. We do quite well with manufacturing. We do quite well with ag, education. We're very strong with government. We're very strong with, but every now and again we get these just rando, I don't know, the glow in the dark t-shirt company we may not mesh well with, but we can figure that out after we have a conversation. So we'll generally never sign anybody until that we have the conversation, and that it's not just a, hey, you showed up on my doorstep, sign this paperwork, we're going to take care of you. We're going to have the conversation, and there's times I've had to go to customers and just say, hey, you know what, you're just not a good fit for me. And maybe we can get you into somebody else who will take better care of you. Doesn't happen often because we are kind of a jack of all trades here. But I'd rather have that honesty up front, and I'd rather lose that bit of business rather than making them struggle and us struggle, is really what it boils down to.
Well, one last thing I wanted to ask you about. You guys are in Walnut, Iowa.
Yep.
And this is this is not what you would call the greater metropolitan Walnut area.
No.
This is a small community.
No,
now,
come on, we got 700 people. This is a metro.
Okay. you can do IT from anywhere. Why have you guys decided to have your business and raise your family in a small town?
Honestly, I grew up in basically smaller towns and living in the country. Jessa grew up more of a metro girl. She grew up in Ames, Iowa, so that's a pretty good sized college town.
I'm understanding now why you are a Cyclone fan.
Yeah, she doesn't have a choice. It's contractual when you go to Iowa State. It's right in the contracts that you have to root for the team.
It's stamped on your birth
not
certificate.
Contractual. Yeah. It's out of love. I love my Cyclones.
We dig the small town vibe, and I've, like I said, most of my life I've lived out in the country. So it's like, hey, we're gonna need to go grocery shopping for the week, which is a very different concept than people who live in the metro.
Right.
So we have our gold farm in the back. We raise a few chickens, which used to be more of a hobby, but now it's
now you need to put in a security system that you just mentioned that you have chickens.
When an egg is like 50 cents to $1 a piece, it makes a difference. Right. But it's just the small town vibe really fits our lifestyle. It really does. And I think that's part of the reason why we're a lot more patient than most. It's just, we've learned patience. And that's really what we bring forward. That a lot of IT folks, the majority of your IT folks are going to be, dazzling urbanites. Jessa is our dazzling urbanite. I am the country boy. So between the two of us, we can usually find a personality that'll mesh with the customer. But yeah, it's just, I prefer the small towns. I mean, my house costs half of what major metro houses cost. It's just a lot more laid back. People aren't so much up in your business, but everybody knows what's going on is really what we look here. Yeah,
there's a lot of truth to that, and still in the town that you live in, you get tour buses coming in all the time. But it's so you still see civilization coming through. But then when the sun goes down and everybody's at home, there is a quiet in a small town at night that you just don't experience anywhere else. And because I grew up in one, I grew up in had 125 people when I was growing up, and now it's down to about 45. And it's quiet. Yeah.
Except for the one neighbor kid who's got the truck with no muffler. But yes, other than that, it's quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, he did it on purpose, though, I'm sure.
I think
They
it more
usually
fell
do.
off, you know.
ThinkSpace IT is the website. ThinkSpaceIT.com, we should say, is the website. And all the information that you want, all the contact information is there, how to get things started, and everything that anyone may need to know about what it is that you can do for them. Always grateful to get a chance to talk to you guys.
Aw.
And I'm looking forward to Jessa seeing you again on Thursday, as long as we get all the weather out of the way. But I think we should be okay. I
Mother
know it's
Nature
still
really needs to go on vacation.
we're in the Midwest, and it's we're approaching springtime, which means that winter is going to hold on like grim death for as long as possible.
Yeah.
All right, Jessa, Jason, thank you much. We'll talk again soon.
You bet.
Thank you.
Well, how's your website doing? Did you know that Sprout Marketing Solutions offers a free SEO audit? That stands for Search Engine Optimization. You can find out how your website stacks up against your competitors. Kelsey Rollins and her team will let you know what keywords you might be missing, also technical issues that are holding you back, and give you some quick wins that can boost your rankings. If you want to gain a competitive edge with the best-in-class industry tools, go online, visit sproutmarketingsolutions.com to set up an appointment. Well, as we said, chance for snow again tomorrow, and then things warming up over the weekend, and the first part of next week looks to be really, really nice. Don't fall for it. I do it every year. The weather warms up in March, and I started thinking, I want to get outside and get some things planted and get them in the ground. We're ready. No, it's March. Don't do it. So it'll get warmer later, but it's just going to kind of fool us, I think, first part of next week. But in the meantime, another round of snow coming in tomorrow. That's going to wrap things up on the show for today. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.